Hey everybody, this is Michael McWhertor from Polygon with some quick tips on how to beat the Living Failures boss in Bloodborne the Old Hunters. Really, this fight is all about visceral attacks, crowd control, and using the environment to protect yourself. Living Failures is basically a bunch of enemies that spawn and respawn and spawn again, and there may be a time when you find yourself surrounded by as many as 5 or 6 of these guys. What I would recommend doing is focusing on visceral attacks, kind of watching these guys, watching their movement, and focusing on the melee attackers first. There will be some others that do one of 2 magic spells, one that fires kind of a large bolt and another that fires a series of tracking bolts. I would highly recommend remembering to use the plant in the center of the screen as a good barrier for yourself. You're going to be able to use it against some magic spells, and you're going to be able to use it in the middle of the fight when these guys start summoning these cosmic meteors. But the key to this is really staggering these guys, doing some visceral attacks, doing a lot of damage. I highly recommend using some runes that bolster your visceral attacks, either through the damage that they do or the kind of the hit point recovery that you can get. But yeah, basically this fight is about managing these guys, staying out of the way of some of their attacks, which are relatively easy to avoid. And then there's this sequence when these guys summon some meteors from the depths of the cosmic horror. Use this to use the plant as a barrier. Don't do what I do, just right there, which is kind of like, hey, maybe I can sneak in a few hits. Yeah, you can do that, but the splash damage on those meteors is it's pretty wide, and it's just kind of some unnecessary hits to take. Just give yourself some room, back up, try and stagger these guys when you can, because you've got all those invincibility frames when you're doing a visceral attack that are really going to help you during this fight. Not too much more to say than that, other than get some high damage weapons in. Again, keep an eye out for these meteor attacks. They're all going to face the direction that they're coming in from, so it's easy to find a good hiding spot against this stuff. Yeah, you can sneak in an attack there like I just did. But yeah, make sure you got your visceral attacks down, your timing on staggering these guys, and then just, stay alive. That's my #1 tip for this fight. Don't die. I think you'll find that this is one of the easier boss battles in Bloodborne the Old Hunters, mostly because these guys are pretty slow to respond, and they give you plenty of time to get your bearings, get away from them, heal up, and the visceral attacks are pretty easy to pull off. Again, keeping that plant as a barrier is really helpful, especially with that homing spell. Again, I just barely survived that. I know I got a little lucky here. I did wear some arcane damage focused stuff for this fight, so in case I did get hit with any spells, it would kind of minimize that damage. But yeah, high damage weapons are super helpful. Visceral attacks. Again, here's another meteor strike. I was lucky enough to kind of get behind some of the stuff, but I did get hit there. But, oof, man, really cutting it close. Yeah, this fight's not too tough. Directly after this fight is another boss fight, which is a lot harder. It's kind of the opposite of this fight, which is you're going to just have to do a ton of dodging, a ton of really fast responses. Make sure you got your visceral attack skills down pat at this point. I kind of whiff on some of these, as you can see. But the openings on these guys for their animation for staggering them is pretty wide. Yeah. Anyway, it's not too tough of a fight. I think you're probably going to have an easy time with it for the most part. And we're going to wrap it up here. If you got any other tips about how to beat Living Failures or Bloodborne the Old Hunters in general, leave them in the comments. Thanks.